Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Members of the committee. I've just listened to three presentations, and all three of them speak to what I'd like to start my policy statement with, and that is, let's make all this stuff in America. We do have a Buy America provisions. They've been in the law for a long time, but they're routinely ignored. We need very strong Make It in America because, frankly, we need to rebuild our manufacturing base here in this nation. And we can use our infrastructure programs to do that. Speaking specifically today of transportation, all well and good. If we're going to build a bridge, it ought to be American steel. If we're going to deal with transit systems, they ought to be buses, trains made in America. I have legislation that is now in the hopper. H.R. 613, airports, highways, high-speed rail, trains, transit, all of it. Let's make it in America. If we're going to use our tax money to buy something, we ought to use it to buy American-made equipment. There's a provision in this that allows us to move towards 100% over three years. So I'll start there. Let's use our money to strengthen the American manufacturing base. We know it can be done. The stimulus bill did it, and now we're seeing Siemens and other foreign companies establishing manufacturing plants here so that they can move forward with building high-speed rail. Secondly, I support President Obama's $556 billion six-year surface reauthorization plan to modernize our country's surface transportation infrastructure, to create jobs and to invest in our future. I like the idea of a jump start. We need jobs now. We certainly need jobs in the future, but is $50 billion boost terrific? We ought to do it, ought to be in the bill, we ought to move forward with it. The $8 billion and in 2012 and $53 billion over 6 years to provide 80% of Americans with convenient access to passenger rail high-speed services in the next 25 years. Bravo, ought to be in the bill. We ought to do it. The $30 billion over 6 years for the National Infrastructure Bank, terrific idea. It gives us a way to leverage both public and private money. It should be in the bill. The next generation air transportation system, I don't know how many years. This precedes me by at least a decade and a half, but yet it's not yet done. Let's get it done. It's going to make air travel to the Pacific much easier for Ms. Napolitano and myself, and we think that's a great idea. The $10 billion for the state of good repair, okay, but that also reminds me of another issue, which is the state of high denial that seems to exist within this Congress, on this side and the other side, and perhaps also in the administration. There's no freebie here. We're going to have to find the money to do it. So if we're going to have a state of good repair, we have to end the state of high denial, that somehow there's going to be money falling from trees or somewhere that are going to pay for this. We would need to be very, very serious about this, and we also need to understand that later this fall, there is no excise tax. It terminates. And we're going to have to reauthorize the excise tax on diesel and gasoline. And as we do that, we ought to consider the overarching needs and set that price, or set that at a level where we can actually do the things that must be done for America's future. Specifically on the Bay Area, the Northern California, San Francisco Bay Area is one of the largest transportation places in this nation, and it has over 5 million passengers a year on public transportation. So as we reauthorize, we need to pay attention to the transit systems that serve the entire nation, and particularly the Bay Area. There's BART, there are bus systems, there are transportation programs of all kinds, including Amtrak with its Amtrak Capital Corridor, the San Joaquin Corridor, and also the Peninsula. We have 3 major airports, San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose. We have ports, the Port of Oakland, the Port of West Sacramento, Stockton, and also a couple of smaller ports in the area. All of these need our attention, and we have to have the money to do it. High-speed rail is much discussed. California will build it, and it will serve us well into the future. Livable communities, yeah, bicycles are really important, as are walking and other ways of getting to the transportation hubs. And finally, let me just finish with 5 major interstate routes: Interstate 80, 680, 580, 2 state routes that have become major corridors, the 4 and the 80, All of these are critically important, and they have to be properly integrated into the overall structure and funding of the new surface transportation program. I won't go into pipeline safety, but we are all across this nation going to spend billions upon billions in upgrading our pipelines, and I think all of us are aware of that. In conclusion, we simply are going to have to build for our future. The transportation infrastructure is critical. I thank you for the extra 20 seconds, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Well,